Imagine how scary life could be as a slave. Now, imagine escaping, knowing that you're being chased on the way to freedom. Today I will be telling you about how Harriet Tubman has displayed courage in her lifetime. Courage is an important quality to have, but it can be very hard to identify in your own life. Seeing it in others, however, can make it easier to identify examples of courage in your life. I have done extensive research into the life of Harriet Tubman, and I have found many examples of how she's displayed courage. Despite being born into slavery and sustaining a lifelong injury, she worked tirelessly to free others with the help from the Underground Railroad. She has demonstrated courage from a young age, and an example when she stood up to an angry overseer. According to PBS.org, in Harriet Tubman, she blocked a fellow slave while she was just a teenager. She was willing to put herself at risk. Although she did this, the angry overseer threw a rock at the other slave, which struck her instead, according to PBS.org in Harriet Tubman. Because of this willingness to protect others and put herself into danger, she showed extreme courage in this instance. This courage from a young age that she has shown allowed her to show courage later in life. When her plantation owner died, she feared that she would be sold. According to the University of Virginia, and What Happened to Slaves When Their Owners Died, nothing presented more uncertainty to the already uncertain lives of slaves as when their owners died. She might have been sold and separated from her family, so she decided to run away with two of her brothers, in Harriet Tubman biography from Biography Online. In Harriet, the Moses of Her People by Sarah Bradford, she left from her plantation on September 17, 1849. Although they proceeded to leave the plantation, they disagreed on how to proceed north, so her brothers decided to turn back and go back to the plantation because they were afraid. Harriet Tubman, however, continued on alone, and she traveled at night with only the North Star to guide her. She was alone in unknown areas, but still she persevered. She kept going, asking for food and shelter, until she reached the north, according to Bradford in 2012. This must have taken a lot of courage, because she knew that at any moment she could be tracked down and taken back into slavery. Although her earlier courage as a teenager was very admirable, the fact that she was alone on this journey is even more admirable. After the escape, she repeatedly showed courage in her life with her work on the Underground Railroad. She showed great courage in her own escape, but she wanted her family to be free as well, so she went back to free them. Harriet Tubman said when it got to the north, she was a stranger in a strange land, because she knew no one, because her family was still in slavery, according to Bradford in Harriet, the Moses of Her People. To rescue her family, she teamed up with a free black man named Jacob Johnson. With his help, she learned that her brothers were going to be sold, and she asked for him to help her, according to the National Park Service, and journeying towards freedom and new beginnings. This article also said that Harriet Tubman arrived to help her brothers on Christmas Eve, 1854. Sarah Bradford in 2012 said that Harriet Tubman came back, but she did not dare to see her mother, because her mother would try to keep them from leaving. Sadly, her mother was expecting her sons to join her for Christmas dinner. This must have taken extreme mental fortitude to resist this temptation, but she knew she had to sacrifice this. This was a very courageous decision. After she freed her brothers, she returned to the South many times in her life to help others. These actions are good examples of why Harriet Tubman is a good example of a very courageous person. Harriet Tubman expressed courage during her entire life, from a teen to when she escaped from slavery to her work on the Underground Railroad helping others escape. She was exceptionally courageous because not only did she escape herself, she also helped others, all while knowing that she could be severely punished for her actions. She faced these decisions head-on, and her courage and bravery allowed her to make others' lives better.